here. I mean, if I bring up the Qs, look at where the 200-day is. It's way up here. Bring up the SPY, look where the 200-day is. It's way up here. Well, ASO has been quietly holding on to, and then it just recaptured and reclaimed its 200-day moving average on Friday. So going into the weekend, had a really nice looking chart with a nice candle, a convincing close above the 200, nice short float. It's going to be the trade of the week. So just because they show up on these scans doesn't mean you're supposed to jump in and trade them. Again, we're just whittling down the ideas and curating it and letting trade ideas be the master curator to show us in real time what we might want to participate in. And like I did earlier, if I want to move this price level up here, I'm going to move that price level up to ASO. Now that I know ASO is going to make a new high, it will alert me in real time. And again, the real time factor is something that you're not going to get with FinViz and TrendSpider and things like that. That was a lot of talking.
You made a really good point there. So basically, with your product here, we can find what's moving ahead of the pack off the lows. If we're below the 50, we're below the 200. We can see when we break those levels or when we're approaching those levels.
Yeah, well, what I was just talking about was doing that visually, but you make up a good point visually, Andy. I was doing that with my price alerts because I like this chart. But what if I'm trying to try and find some things that are showing up at a significant level in real time? Like, let's see here, slam into the 50, okay? This is a good segue too. Again, we're just still kind of talking about longer term trading here, but it all translates. So TOST, never heard of this stock, but guess what? It's now challenging its 50-day moving average. And I'm only seeing it because it's making a high at the 50. And I will show you under the hood how I did that. Okay, so there's my new high, but it's telling me all these filters change from the 50-day SMA. What I've done here is I've put a minimum of 0.1% negative and a maximum of 0.1% positive. So I've got 0.2% window that's just going to be covering up that 50-day SMA. So that filter alone allows me to look at charts and say, what's going on here? Okay, this FDN, oh, look at this. This thing's pushing and it's actually trying to break above its 50. And so that's just one example of many ways in which the real-time scanner, not a screener, but a scanner, is constantly watching the pulse of the market. And every single symbol and in real time with all these filters, I mean, we saw I had a couple of pretty good amount of filters in here. You can do that. Average daily volume. I want at least 300,000 shares average. My price. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. I'm going to show you why a price of 249 maximum, why a position of 10-day range in the 35 percentile, but no more than 80 percentile in a 10-day range. Those are all derived from something I'm going to show you now, which is pretty mind-blowing. It's another tool, and both day traders and swing traders can use it. It's back testing. So we've got 65 days of 3 months on the calendar, but 65 days worth of tradable data in our database before it gets purged out to make room for the new data coming in today. And we can take that data and kind of massage it and say, what if we took every symbol when it came through and held it, and we can adjust those parameters, and how would we do? So I'm going to go ahead and right click. I'm going to show you back test this strategy. And the strategy, again, for this particular one, this is a sell strategy because we've been in a seller's market, as you guys know. And what's been happening is when a lot of these stocks hit their 50, like right here, TOST, it's getting a lot of pressure. It's getting a lot of rejection right at the 50. There's no coincidence. That's just the way the market works. When everybody's looking at the same thing and when they're programming the algos to use this as a key input, they're going to work. And so this alert tells me, well, coming into today, this looks like a pretty good short sell strategy. If I just keep pounding on the short sell, once these things bounce up into the declining 50-day moving average, well, this is what's been working, and I'll prove it to you. So here we go. We're going to back test this strategy. We're going to say only between my Pacific Coast time here, so that's 10:30 Eastern, and we're going to hold it for tomorrow plus 3 days. It's really hard to get a multi-day strategy to work. The farther you go out with data, the more wild it is to try and corral it and make sense of it. But this 3-day scan, so we would sell it, short sell it today, and then cover it on tomorrow plus 3 days. The risk management will all be done for me. If any of these simulated trades wind up losing 2%, well, that's my stop. So I'm risking 2% to try and make 7%. So 1 to 3.5 ratio on the risk reward. You can't go wrong there. Advanced, again, 63 days. So I'm going to ping all of our data in the entire database going back 63 days. Sometimes it's 64. And I'm going to say, what happens if I simulate sell? And now it's going and saying, okay, if you held all of those alerts when they came out in real time, and if they made 7%, we closed the trade. If they lost 2%, we stopped out of the trade. And if they stayed open, well, we closed the trade at that third day on the timed exit. And after all of those scenarios, we can get like a summary here, which shows us a couple of really interesting things, okay? First off, caveat, this has been working well. Does that mean it's going to continue working well for the next 3 months? No, it doesn't, because the market's changed. As a matter of fact, we could be in the middle of a market change right now, as it seems like the buyers are starting to get a little bit more confident. But we can look at a few things here, and I was discussing with Andy before we came on. If any of you out there are hung up on win percentage as being a key metric in your trading, just go ahead and throw that out. If you don't believe me, this is a perfect example right here. You can have a wonderful strategy that has a 78% return, almost 1,000% annualized. Of course, it's theoretical, but based on the 3 months that we just sampled here, we've got an average winner of $3 and an average loser of $1.13. This is what you need to pay attention to as a trader. All right. When people come in and they say, well, what's your win percentage? If it's under 70, I don't want to hear it. It's like, okay, I know where you're coming from, but you need to pay attention to risk management and how to cut the losers and how to let the winners run. That's a whole other part of the game as well. So that is the back testing module of Trade Ideas, and it can be done with any window that is an alert window. And I bring that up because alert windows all have this thing called an event. It's either a new high or a new low, crossed above, crossed below. You can see all these different events that we can apply, large bids, whatnot. But the T window here, the one that I showed you with the short squeeze, there is no event. There's no new high. There's no new low. It's always just kind of refreshing. Basically, each symbol refreshes every 30 seconds, so you'll see a little bit of movement. But this is where it gets interesting, and I showed Andy yesterday our new software tool here. It takes the ability of taking this kind of a stagnant spreadsheet grid appearance and trying to make sense of who's moving up the ladder quickly, what's really the most interesting one in here from just a spreadsheet point of view. It's kind of hard to do. So the way in which I use our new tool, and we do have some time to look at it live, I'm going to highlight this scan right here. It's a top list. So it's updating every 30 seconds, but you'll notice in there, every one of these is a sector ETF, all right? There's semis, there's oil, XLE, okay? I bring those up for a reason. Every morning, I run what we call a stock race, and the stock race is designed to just bring the data off of these top lists in a much more visually appealing way. And I've got a screenshot for you. So this morning, this is what I screenshot. Every day I do this, the market bell rings. I pull up my ETF list, which we just looked at, and then I'll show you how I ran the race in real time. And I paused it after 3 minutes. So 3 minutes after the open, what did it tell me? It told me that XLE, energy, oil service sector, semiconductors was starting to make a move here. Those were some really interesting early sectors. And I'm running this not based on the close, but based on the open. So what it does is once the race is run, and I'll get into that, and you click start, from that point forward, you can sort based on whatever you want, change from close, volume increases. But what we find is change from the open is a really, really powerful filter to visualize this data with. Change from the open. How many times have you been in a stock that gapped up and you're just ready to go, and before you know it, the bid's gone and it's puking? You want to find those stocks that gapped up and held and started moving. So that's what the races can do for me. So early this morning, it gave me an indication that I want to be focusing on energy, oil, and maybe semis. Okay, so as we go forward here, well, semis made it to the top. Energy and oil are still up there. Where we go? Oh, I saw them somewhere. There we go. Oil, and XLE. So these were all strong in the morning, and they pretty much remain strong for the day. And it's never a guarantee, but it's really nice for me to at least know these are the 3 sectors I might want to focus on if I see some other alerts, because this looks like where the money seems to be flowing right out of the box. So let's do this. Let's do a real time. Okay. This is a simple top list window, and it's showing gainers from the open. And right now it's sorted on change from the open. So this LQDA, oh, you know what? I think I need to, hang on a second. I need to link this. Yeah. Link to
Speaking of garbage stocks earlier, I see TBLT there. It finally popped for the second time.
Which one was it?
TBLT.
TBLT. Ah, there it is.
We bought it after it pulled back quite a bit off of its reverse split.
Yeah.
Got some profit, and then decided once it pulled back a little bit more that I was going to grab some more. And it made me wait for this one, but it finally popped back up again.
That's what they
Glutton
do.
for punishment. What can I say?
Yeah, you'll find it easily. So if we configure this real quick, let's just see, what are we looking at here? All right, we're looking at only stocks between price, so minimum $1, change from the close 2%. Volume today, it's had to do at least 20,000. This is so basic, but it's just giving us a basic pool from which we can draw ideas from. And so what we'll do is we'll take this list, and as we look at it, we kind of see things blink here and there, and something's doing something, but we don't really know how it's all working relative to each other. So I'm going to right click. We're going to do this brand new tool. And it's a way, again, we call it stock racing, but it's a way in which to visualize how they're all doing compared to each other. We can set the parameters. So basically those three columns you see there are my drop down options. Change from the open. That's what I'm all about. I'm interested in change from the open. I want to look at, we'll look at 20 of these symbols at one time. And we figured that the best way to do it is not run one big long race. It's better to just kind of break them up in chunks, maybe 5-minute race, 4-minute race. I'll just do a 3-minute race for demonstration purposes so we can really kind of see the movement. And then this auto rerun here, that'll just start the race over again. And it'll slowly just put the winners of each minute race on the right-hand side. So you can just kind of see a pattern of what the same symbols that keep kind of showing up throughout the day. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the action each and every day. But once we found the action, how do we make sense of it? Well, so let's change from the open as our race. I'm going to do what's called a delta value. So the best go on top and the smallest go on the bottom. Replace cars. If a new symbol comes in, it can replace the oldest symbol. And I've got company logos on there as well now. So we'll show those instead of cars. Just go ahead and click go. And from this point forward, it's going to be a 3-minute visualization of which ones of these names are really starting to come alive here as we speak. So far, Verve seems to be the one. So let's bring this down a little bit. So from this point forward, you're not really focused on the bottom. You're focused on what's moving at the top. What's currently moving? And Verve is currently moving higher. Now APLD seems to have wanted to try and do something. So the point is, it's not predictive, but it's helping you in real time make sense of how the stocks are doing relative to the other names in that particular scan. So this works really well, especially for day traders that are always constantly trying to look for the action. I gave you the example of how I use it because I'm a swing trader. I want to know what the action is in the first 3 minutes based on the sector. But all day long, you can be running these things, and you're always going to be shown where the action is. There'll be a lot of repeat names. Something might give way and maybe take a breath for a half an hour, then come back up and start showing up again. But we're very excited about this. And if you are a current Trade Ideas user, make sure that you download the most latest version, because this is our new project and most of the latest features are going to be in here. But it's very easy to just simply click a symbol and, oh, look at that. That's interesting. HUSA had a good move. It pulled back. Now it's doing something again. So, I was fortunate enough to be trading back in the late 90s when level 2 was a very first thing, and it was an amazing tool, and I used it in an amazing way, and then it just became garbage about 10 years later as they went to decimals and algorithms and dark pools. It just wasn't the same anymore. So I kind of feel like this is a level 2 2.0 generational leap for newer traders out there. I'm sure there's a lot of new traders and old traders. I'll tell you that I was kind of wasn't really open to this at first because I'm dogmatic and I've been looking at charts for 20 years. And I said, well, how is this going to help me make money? And it was a valid question, but I see the light now. And most of the guys here that were saying that in the first week that this was shown to us, we've pretty much seen, yeah, this is a good tool. And conversely, for the grizzled traders, for the newer traders and the younger generation, obviously we're more in a visual gamification type environment these days, and so we're excited that this kind of brings a new way to do that. And there's a lot of good plans for competitions and simulated races and things like that. But guys, if you're not out there practicing before you throw your money into, I know there's a tremendous fear of missing out. A lot of people experienced that last year with AMC and GameStop. You're looking at your neighbor going, this guy's an idiot. How the hell is he making so much money in AMC? I need to be doing this. And you want to try to avoid that. You want to take as much time as possible to learn and make your mistakes cheap. And one more thing that Trade Ideas does have to help people do that is we have a simulated trader. Just we call it Brokerage Plus. You literally can attach it to Interactive Brokerage and trade your account through it, and also E-Trade. You can make manual trades, or you can literally assign and say, the next alert that comes through, this slam into the 50 that we just back tested, I want you to automatically short sell that for me the minute it comes out. I don't even want to think about it. So there's an automated trade function, but mostly the simulated trade function is what every new trader should be doing. Like a new golfer, you're not going to go out and play a skins game if you haven't really played much golf in your life. You're going to want to practice at the range and get some feedback. Same thing goes for trading. You got to keep it like a business and treat it seriously. I understand that the urge is strong to run out there and make some money, and most people do. There's a horrible trading gods have a horrible way of getting people addicted with some really nice beginner's luck in this business, and then they got you. So my advice as a grizzled old trader is don't be in a rush to start putting your hard-earned money in the market just for the sake of feeling like you're not missing out. You really got to get in there and make some mistakes, and you got to learn first.
Well, I mean, when I started this, I started with too much money, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Okay, backstory. Back in 2008, I started trading Forex, and I started paper trading. That's how I learned about trading in general. And then I somehow came across I was looking up stocks after that, and GE. I was fascinated with GE. If I would have held GE from when I really wanted it, I think $36. It went, I don't know how far down, but what, $10, $8, $6. Anyways, I picked stocks horribly back then. But anyways, I got into somehow I got into these email things, and I started seeing these like stocks like Spirix, if you remember that, SPX, I believe. I don't know. It's a new name. It has a new name now, but back in like 2009, 2010, this thing was making like from $1 to $3 regularly. And I'm like, look at how much I could have made here and here, Yeah. Fast forward, I got into trading. I got your guys' product, which is good at helping me find stuff, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I just kept pushing buttons. I learned all the hard ways, like you were just saying. And I still do today, but I like to learn things the hard way, apparently.
Never stop learning. Never stop learning.
One thing cool about your the races you were just showing me, though, is you can also put any watch list you want into those. So that's
sure.
That's
really so let me show you that. So this is my my daily watch list right here. I gotta spread this out. And all I do is, let's say I like this HUSA. I don't want to lose track of it. Well, I go ahead and I just click that heart feature, and that is a back-end automatic symbol entry to my liked symbols. I need to clean this out. There's a lot of stuff in there, but yeah, these are things I'm watching. And how do I make sense of this? So if I want to keep an eye on something, and if it does want to decide to sneak into the races and start doing something cool, I won't miss it. So as long as it's a top list, I can launch real-time stock race. I think I can do up to 25 cars if I wanted to, and just do 5-minute races and just see who's maybe change. I could even add a column and do it like change in the last 5 minutes and run a race just on who's hot in the last 5 minutes. But that's the idea, is to take your watch list or your scan or your own symbol list and take it to the next level so you don't miss a beat. I mean, we all know if you see something 30 seconds earlier that you want to do in this business, that adds up at the end of the month.
Yeah, and for me, I was big bullish bears were kind enough to bring me over, and they started a penny stock room. This was a while back. I'm no longer with them now, but anyways, I remember being in that room, and I have this scan that I made with you guys. It's very everything but the kitchen sink, but I call it Volume Beast because it comes through 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I can see the ticker's name come through like 20 times, 100 times, whatever. And everybody in the chat, they're like, man, how are you finding all these stocks? And it's like, I see everything that's coming through because I see where the volume is and I see what's making new highs.
Yeah, back in the day when we had to drive to a trading floor, 2003, 2004, I'd drive 40 minutes a day just so I could get access to a T3 line and have good connections. And Trade Ideas was just early stages at that point. I was still was a customer at that point, and so was everybody else on the trading floor. And it was very rare, but in the instance that the data would go down and Trade Ideas would go down, everybody would literally just stand up and say, "I'm not doing a damn thing until this data comes back up," because I realize how much I need it and how much I'm flying blind if I don't.
I mean, that's the truth. There was so many stocks, that I was wondering how are people finding these, and then when I got that scan up in particular, it was like, okay, so yeah, I'm not really missing a thing
Well,
anymore.
before Trade Ideas, we were literally just chasing our tail, red lights and green lights blinking, and just new high, new low. That was easy. Everybody had that, but you're just chasing your tail. But when you can qualify that with the sector and volume and float, and just really create the noise and bring the noise down to a minimum and have a nice curated stream for what you want to see, yeah, it's invaluable.
I really like how you can have the multi-strategy window with you guys also, so you can have new high, um, you know, what breaking out on volume, just about anything,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I shared one with you the other day. This is a multi-strategy window. It's bullish, but it's broken down into different tiers. Okay, the strategies are: show me stocks with extreme volume between $2 and $10. Show me stocks with extreme volume above $10. Show me extreme volume but also has low float. Show me extreme volume but also at a 52-week high. So all-time high. So you can the multi-strategy window is what you mentioned there, Andy, and this is what it looks like. You can just kind of break down and colorize what's going on. Now, this is a real-time mode. If I go to history, we'll basically see all throughout the day the different types of colorized strategies that were coming through based on what you want to see. But everything in here is going to have volume. If I go to configure, the sweet spot is going to be this right here, relative volume, 1.5. That means that this stock is doing 50% more volume today than it has been in the last 15 days. And there's probably a reason. So we want to see that. And when you have relative volume as a filter, you can really keep a lot of the noise out of there. I mean, 2.0 relative volume means the stock's doing twice what it normally does. That's probably something you want to at least look at and see what's going on.
Yeah, relative volume. That was the first place that I started, and then I saw that you have like unusual number of prints and stuff like that as well.
There's so many different things. I mean, we go to search. There's just so many different ways you can go down the rabbit hole and try and find what you want to find. For the new user, okay, let's say you, and by the way, we are going to be having our next test drive coming up August 15th. Test drive is essentially a 2-week trial. You basically pay us for the live data that we have to pay the NYSE. So it's about an $11 fee. You get 2 weeks access to try everything. And what I would do if I was somebody doing that, the very first thing you can do is you would come and you would open up what we call a docked window with a channel bar. So everything you're looking at here is my custom hours and hours of configuration. But this is a nice little fresh, clean palette here. You can see it's a container window. And on the left, we got kind of like a Netflix channel. What do you want to watch over here? This is what I missed. We have this new button down here that says show me more. Okay, so most people, they like to start at pre-market. So if I click on the pre-market channel and the bell hasn't rung yet, you're going to have this array just pop up immediately for you. What's it giving you? It's giving you in real time all the stocks that are gapping up in pre-market, all the stocks that were gapping down in pre-market, new highs, new lows in pre-market, and then they can also have races attached to those as well. So it's a really cool starting point. And let's say you say, here's how you start building on Trade Ideas. You say, well, I really like this up gappers. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to duplicate that in a free floating window. I can minimize that now. So now I've got this free floating window. How do I make this a part of my repertoire? Well, you just right click and you save to the cloud. And that scan is now forever in the cloud. I can always go back and grab that one, or I can locate it down here and save my layout. But going through that exercise of a new channel with ideas is a great way to start and find things that you're looking for. Let's see, unusual volume. Okay, that's an interesting one. Stocks doing unusual volume. This is all pre-configured for you. So this is really the best way to start using Trade Ideas and just learn from what's been configured for you. And from there, you can pop these things out, like I said, duplicate free floating window, and you can configure them and make them your own colors, your own filters, whatever you want to do. It's very customizable. But this is the best starting point. And again, how I got there, it was just a new docked channel bar. And that gives you a whole new fresh palette that you can start with. And a lot of people, like I said, just start building their scans, and they're stealing their scans and taking them from the pre-configured channels there.
Well, if I can add on how you said you guys are having your test drive coming up soon, a great way to get into this product, I think, if you do get into the test drive, is to go over and check out Barry's room. You guys have a live trading room, and he goes over how he's using it and what he's finding with it. So I think that if you're gonna get into trade ideas, best to have somebody there that's a veteran that's been using it for a long time.
Definitely. And then we give him a break at noon Eastern every day. One of us will come in there and we'll take the mic over like we're doing here on StreamYard for an hour and just give a different set of eyes, a different set of understanding. And people appreciate that. They get 5 different personalities throughout the week when Barry takes his break. So if you're going to do the test drive, highly recommend that you saddle up and you try and shorten your learning curve and attend those free webinars. You don't have to be a Trade Ideas subscriber. You can join Barry's room at any time, by the way. So it's free.
And it's trade-ideas.com, right? And
yeah, trade-ideas.com.
And you guys can check out the link in the description as well.
Yeah. And
another thing real quick is you got that window there where you can see the float. And I know that it's a lot of people, when they're looking for these low float movers, the first thing I want to do is check and see what the float is, let the community know, hey, what's the float of this thing that's moving, like HUSA or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this was something that was not easy to find other than on Yahoo, I believe.
Yeah, you're talking about the single stock window here with all the data points?
The single stock window, just so where you can see what the float is. And I mean, the float's not going to be the same on every single, like if you go to Yahoo, go to Trade Ideas, you go to Benzinger or something, the float's going to be a little bit different, but this is a moving target.
Yeah, same with the short float. Short float and float are kind of a weird data point to nail down sometimes, especially the short float percentages, because it's a survey and it only comes out twice a month. There's some companies out there that try and use algorithms to look at the short growth and calculate where it might be. But the official survey coming from the SEC to the brokerage houses, that's the one that is released twice a month. And there's always some little bit of minor discrepancies on there, but it's just the way it is. But if you wanted to add something like, say, okay, I need to know where this thing is with RSI. Where's today's RSI? I don't see it on there. Okay, well, you just right click. You want to see RSI? There you go. We'll do daily RSI. Go ahead and show me that column. So now every stock that I bring up, I can now have daily RSI. Okay, 41, no big deal. But that goes true with any filter, any data point we have. You can customize your own single stock window here. And I often refer to it, especially like you said, Andy, the minute I pull up some of these things with the low floats, I want to just check the shorts and their floats and their charts. I mean, this is a short seller's nightmare right here. They're just being squeezed to no end, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good one. I'm going to put that on my watch list as well.
Yeah, and don't forget to set the price alerts if you want to buy a pullback or a level of interest.
So as far as scans go, would it be possible if I wanted to see, what's getting down like to the RSI 30 and at the same time potentially bouncing the lower band as well?
What time frame?
That's what I was going to say. I'm sure you have the 5-minute daily.
We have the ability. Okay, so let's do this. We would just kind of just start from scratch here.
And I would normally look at something like that on the daily.
Okay, but so what we're going to do it on 5-minute time frame though, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We trade out to 5 minutes.
So we're going to do a new scan here. Let's say we want to see a stock when it. So the ideal scenario is the stock is going down, but it hits that level of RSI, or what do you want to see the stock do?
Basically, what's the closest that we could get to seeing that we've got to 30, or we're approaching 30, and we're approaching the lower band?
Okay, so I'll do new low as my event. We'll add that. That becomes our event, new low, based on these window filters. All right, I got to clear these out. All right, make sure there's no more. So the basic ones, price. Okay, we'll do $5 minimum, whatever. Relative volume, we can always come back to that. But we're trying to find the magic sauce here. So let's do one or the other. Let's do RSI first. RSI 5 minutes. We're going to use this filter. So the new low, we don't want to see the new low until it's down in that window of, we'll call it 29 to maybe 31. See what I'm doing there? Just kind of giving a little bracket, not trying to just nail it, but just give a little 2% window there. So stocks making new lows with 5-minute RSI at those levels. Now, of course, we could clean this up and filter out a lot of the noise, maybe use at least a 1 relative strength. I don't want to get too many things to come in, but let's go ahead and just launch that, and then we'll verify it in real time here. I'm going to take my, just going to take this chart, and we're going to do time frame, 5-minute. Okay, let's click on the first one here. Okay, AVK. Let's see, made a new low with the RSI down there. Currently, it's not at that level, but it was at the time. AVK was making new lows. Where we go? Oh, the same one. SCF is making new lows. So that's those are all going to be stocks making new lows. The 5-minute RSI. Excuse me. There it is. If you wanted to do the same thing for again, I'm rushing through this. There's a lot more we could do to clean this up, but this is the general concept. If we wanted to do the same thing with the Bollinger Bands, 5-minute, we'll go ahead and add that filter. We'll clear out the RSI filter and say Bollinger Bands 0 equals the lower line and 100 equals the higher line. So for us, let's take a look at stocks making a new low, but they're in the, I'm sorry, that's not the right one. We do this. We say 5. We're going to cap it. So it's got to be between 0 and 5. It's definitely either touching that Bollinger Band or just off the lower Bollinger Band. Anything above 5, we're not going to see. So stocks making new lows at the Bollinger Band 5. And again, we can do other things to try and shore up volume today. Let's make sure this thing has done at least 300,000 shares today. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, I mean, anything that we're looking at that we're wanting it to, be low on the RSI and maybe bump in that lower band, we're going to want more volume to even look at it, I'm sure.
Exactly. So I don't have the Bollinger Band on there, but I'm going to say that's definitely counting. It's definitely hitting the Bollinger Band. Let me see if I can add one. I don't even know. I don't use them. Bollinger Band. Let's see. Let's see if that works. Okay, so when this came out, it was making a new low below the Bollinger Band. It's either at or below 0, below. We can filter for things that don't go too far below, but for the most part, they're all going to be at or close to their low of those. So I kind of rushed through that, but it's possible, and there's a lot of cleanup work that can be done, especially like you said, with relative volume and average daily volume. The funny thing about average daily volume, and Barry catches this a lot, is I will usually put that in there, but there are days when a stock that might do 80,000 shares normally is trading 50 times the turnover, trading 50 million shares that day. So you miss some of those opportunities if you use average daily volume. So you always got to kind of be aware of what you might be keeping out, what you might be letting in. That's why volume today, I put in 300,000 shares volume today, at least shows me it's done some volume today, even if it did 10,000 yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I did at first. I filtered myself right out of the market. I was going low float, extremely low float, and then I was putting average volume, and I was putting a really high relative volume in there. And I noticed that just a lot of things were.
It's like a painter. You got to put the brush down at some point. It's just there's also a thing called curve fitting. When I did that exercise earlier with the back testing of that 3-day short sale hold, the propensity for a lot of people is to try and continue to improve. I got to continue to improve. But then you're just shrinking your trade numbers. And before you know it, you've painted yourself into a corner that's called curve fitting. And in real life, curve fitting doesn't really work. You want to try and at least have a bit of more of an open sample, not just waiting for your perfect pitch, to come down the line.
So when you first get in here, do you look at the what is it, compare count window?
I actually rely on my friend Jamie to do that because he tweets it at QuantBot. He tweets it 15 minutes after the open, and I always retweet it usually, just to kind of see where the I'll find an example here real quick, where the action is, or not where the action is where are the buyers and sellers today? How are they doing in terms of their out of the box? Let me just find an example here real quick because I know, there we go. There's Jamie. Okay, so I basically just retweet this every morning, and you can see there was really nothing to see on this one in terms of winners or losers. Sometimes when we come in the market and the 47%, that could be like 57% green and 43% whatever red, just to kind of show. And this is big caps. So every day I just kind of wait for Jamie to pump this out. I don't use that on my screen, but I am curious after the market opens, what are we looking at? Like I showed you earlier, I want to know what are my sectors that are moving, and I'll run a race on those. And I want to know what's the bigger picture. Are the big caps being bought or sold, or is it an even strike, kind of like it was this morning? Very good visual.
Are all these running pre-market, or is some of it running pre-market? How's that work?
The compare count windows, let's see. I'll open a compare count window right there. I don't know if they run pre-market. That's a good question. I don't really have the answer to that. But you can configure anything versus anything, red versus green, and it just kind of starts calculating from the moment I clicked run. Things are making highs, but you'll see that this worm pole here will start to slowly settle in. A lot of people like to leave these running all day long because if I stop it and restart it, then it just starts the data over again. But for me, I find a little bit of use in it, but it's not worth my main screen real estate for it. Like I said, I just wait for Jamie to tweet it, and I take a look, and I have a feel for how the day's starting.
I think it's just another way to visualize it, kind of like a heat map, you know?
Yeah, we're going much more visual. I know you guys see a lot of grid patterns and stuff on here, but starting with the races and starting with some other concepts, where trade ideas is going to become much more visual and much less grid spreadsheet orient in appearance. Also, you can do a lot of buying and selling in real time, which is cool. Like, if I one click, if I wanted to buy the Qs here, I could say, oh, you know what? I'd like to buy the Qs, but I think I'm going to do it just a little bit lower here. And that's defaulted for 100 shares. So there's my buy order. Opening order at 29.70. I'm going to go a little lower. Okay, now my order's been reset and sent to the broker. I'm just going to take my eye off it and forget about it. And then, once you're in these things, you can manage them and just say, you know what, I'm just going to pop a stop in here, and I'm just going to keep it around $4 and let it sit. And the nice thing about that is when that stop order comes in, you can adjust it in real time, and it will tell you, what the P&L loss would be or the gain would be on the target. Not sure where that stop order didn't come in yet. There it is.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
So if I don't
cool
want to lose more than 1,000, if that's how you want to trade, well, there's my $1,000 loss right there. I want to lock in that money, so that would be my stop at 1,000. So it's a really nice visual, as I was talking about. We're just going much more visual, much more graphical oriented. Everything from the charts, buy, sell, click, things like that.
So I can trade with trade ideas, go straight to my broker, and as well as paper trading if I want to get some practice.
And again, paper trading, it's on paper trade simulation mode right now. There's the E-Trade connection, there's the interactive brokerage connection, neither of which I have an account with. And I don't do automated trading. I'm a discretionary old guy, but I do like to use the simulated trader to demonstrate for people, things that are working and how to use it. Very important.
And can you put your stop in with your order?
Yes, you can. So let's say I've got a strategy that I want to use, and just for example, any one of these strategies. I had one called jam down and buy, when the market makers would jam down the price to the 10-day simple moving average on a new low. I used to like that. That market doesn't work anymore, by the way, but it was a good time when it did. So if I trusted and I wanted to actually trade this, I could say, all right, here's my trading instructions for the jam down buy strategy. All right, it's going to be in the sim account, or it's going to be in another account. All right, we'll make sure that's the case. Sim account. And then entry time. If I know the strategy doesn't work well in the first 30 minutes, well, let's just block the first 30 minutes off and not let it do it. Order details. This is what you asked me. So can I send an order based on fixed shares? Can I send it based on stop loss? This is a really popular one, by the way. Say your normal's $100, your normal point of pain, and you don't want to risk more than $100 on any single trade. The system will actually calculate the shares for you using your stop loss that you want. So it's all that math is done for you. So order entry could be market or stop. Good deal canceled. The offset means how many pennies are you willing to buy above the current offer? Maybe 5 cents would be a good offset for that. And then in risk management, yes, you can send the order with a stop loss order immediately. So you can just say right off the bat, I don't want to risk more than 1%. That's my stop loss order. And what happens is when that alert triggers, the $100 risk will be sent in whatever share size that is based on your 1% loss. And it's all calculated for you, and you don't have to really do anything beyond that. So it all sends as one order.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's it can be a support headache sometimes when people don't know what they're doing, and we have to kind of reverse engineer. So if you're going to do this live, you better make sure you know what you're doing. But definitely practice on the simulator first, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches.
And speaking of practice, you guys can replay your scans, correct?
We can look in history mode, and the back testing I did also is kind of a function of history. I can look and go back to every single trigger that happened over 65 days. But the races that I was showing you earlier, which are cool, the newest feature is going to be a ability. Well, I can just actually show it because I have the ability. Real-time stock race. I can go into history mode, and if I'm on the weekend and I'm just wanting to see, what was the market action like on Friday? I saw there was a lot of interesting things that were happening that day. So custom, this is being the newer versions, not available quite yet, but I can just say, I want to see what happened yesterday at the close, on the 18th, towards the end of the day. I want to see what happened, and then run a race, and it will go in replay, kind of fast motion mode, every 5-minute clips, but you can replay the action on these stock racing templates as well. So the history is there. It's just how you want to use it.
Yeah, that's pretty handy because like TD Ameritrade, I think you have a replay feature in there too. So if you combine trade ideas with
Thinkorswim, Thinkorswim was one of the first platforms to do that. I think was to go back and show you in real time, how would you have reacted to this situation. We don't have that on the charts. Kudos to them. We don't have that, but we have history in other forms and fashions.
But what I was saying is using them together. Use trade ideas, go back and you can see your scan popping through it, and basically, yeah. I think you can go paper trade it in history over there while you're just like you're looking at it in real time.
Yes, it'll mimic history in real time, and then you can just start to look at the data and see where you can improve and get better and make some mistakes cheap. Free is a good mistake. Doesn't cost you any money.
Yeah, we have a member of our community that I think he practiced doing that quite a bit.
It was smart of him because I've seen a lot of people come in. They were successful in whatever endeavors they were, and they figure, I'll figure this out quickly, no problem. I'm a smart guy, and then they get humbled pretty quick. You need to take some time. I've found, I don't want to insult anybody, but I've found that attorneys seem to be the hardest at learning trades because they don't have the ability to flip. They're going to argue one side, and they've always been taught to argue one side, and it just doesn't work for trading.
Yes, I really appreciate you coming on here and showing this to us. One thing I would like to add is that a lot of these windows, like the scanners and stuff, I like to put the position and range there because then I could pretty much see visually, how green are we, or are we pulling back to the 50%, or how is that?
Yeah, the position and range. I've got a quick example I can show you on that. Let's see, 5-day range. How do I do that? Oh, I have to go back to position and range. So I can just add any old position and range. So I think you were talking about, you like today's position and range. Where is it in relation to its lows and its highs? We can show that column. And that column becomes a graphical indicator, as Andy was talking about right there. So we're at the 96th percentile here today on APPH. What's Apple doing? Apple's close to it. It's at the 94th percentile of its daily range. So the little graphical indicators down there, some people like those as well. Just a quick look.
And you have a news tab, I just noticed.
News tab, but it's nothing fresh, nothing Benzinga-like, nothing extraordinary. We're basically just scraping from Google News Finance. So we're not first in news. You want to go to the Benzingas and the others for that, but if it's on the news wires, it'll be scraped and it'll be on here on this tab.
I just think it's pretty neat to be able to, quickly click and see, whatever is in there. It might give you an idea to help make your decision without having to go everywhere,
And that's the hard part for new traders, is to try and figure out, well, what do I like? And there's no substitute for experience. You find out what you don't like, and then you avoid those and just kind of hone it in on your time frame, the ability you have to focus as a second job or not a second job, or it all comes into play on how you want to approach the market, because it's an art form. It's not a science, and there's many different ways to do it.
And I'm really sorry, YouTube. I don't know what happened. StreamYard normally will stream to all three of these at the same time, and for some reason it did not stream out to YouTube. And then now we are live on YouTube, but everybody that was waiting in the queue, I don't know where they went. They're not here. So
can you always replay it?
Yeah, we can always replay it. We can even edit it a little bit and put it back up there. So that'll be cool. I wanted to take some of these and maybe put a little TikTok videos or something to make sure that just get the message out and let people know exactly
I'll probably see you on there. I'll probably see you on TikTok. I see your videos on there.
Yeah, I've had a hard time. It's been slow going, getting videos out on there, but
it's hard. But my daughter is pretty good at it. She helps me. She's 22. She's got it figured out. She's actually doing some videos.
I'm warming up to it.
Yeah. I didn't like it at first for many reasons when I heard, who was behind it and whatnot. But then I just if everybody else is doing it, and you got to jump on it, I guess. I don't know.
It's all about who we're reaching, and if there's a brief, concise. This is my thing. So I've seen so many communities that they have like 30-minute videos about something that could be talked about in 1 to 3 minutes.
Sounds like the meetings I was just in for 2 hours.
So if we can get anything that has these brief, concise videos to help traders learn this a little bit faster.
Yeah. We kind of discussed that on our weekend meetings. Like when we all first started trading, the people that survived were the ones that picked through and learned and taught themselves okay, that's how that works. That's what that is. Okay, that's what. Now we've got this generation where everything's done for everybody, especially the younger generation. Everything's automated and AI'd and smoothed out and dumbed down, and then you put these people in front of a computer and say, hey, trade the market. They don't know where to start.
That's one of the reasons why I liked getting in here and making all my mistakes myself. It helped me to get a feel of what works for me. And then it really helped me to see that my system pays if I trust myself to stick to my system. And I think that's the whole thing is once we find what fits our personality and, we let that system work for us rather than trying to forcing things in the market never works out too well.
It's funny. Brian Shannon will show me a chart he loves, and I look at it and I'm like, but he sees something totally different. So it is what it is.
But Steve, I really appreciate you coming and taking your time, especially after a long day of meetings.
Sure.
That's pretty awesome of you.
Well, again, we've got this test drive coming up, and let's focus on getting you maybe a couple of links or something out there and start activating your affiliate account, because like I said, you hook up a bunch of people on the test drive, it's a no-brainer. There's a lot of good conversions on the back end, and a little extra income.
And I think that, for anybody that's in the trading community, if they have trade ideas and they would like to share the value here as well, they can become an affiliate with you guys and make a percentage.
They can be under you. You can bring them in under you, and you can make a percentage over them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
They become your sub-affiliate. It's always nice to wake up. I have a few of them that are smart on the SEO and I wake up and I say, oh, that guy just sold an annual, and I get $100 and he gets 400. Great. We're all happy.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, anything helps, especially these days. Who knows what's going on with the world? It's
quite a show. See how it ends up.
I believe that we might have entered an alternate reality with the whole CERN thing, like you were saying.
Yeah. I actually, a buddy of mine sent me a picture. Must have been an old picture of Chick-fil-A spelled CHIC. I don't know where he got it, but at one point it was CHIC. Now all of a sudden it's CHCK.
Yep, my wife, she remembers the C. I thought it was CK, but
How about Berenstein? How about the Berenstein children's books? Remember those? Maybe you weren't old enough. It was STIN, like Stein. They changed it to Stain. Now nobody can find a picture of an old book that says Steen. They all say Stain. It's really weird.
I could be totally off, and I said this to you before, but I thought that the Shiva statue that's in front of CERN, I thought that was an Osiris statue before.
No, I've been looking into it. It's the god of Shiva, the god of chaos and destruction, is right out there in front. And then there's even images of them doing something at like 2 in the morning. They're all wearing robes, and then some woman kneeling, some ritualistic bullshit. And then when they opened up the tube, they had all the weird robes and all the weird imagery. It's so evil. I can't even go there.
I don't think that I would be able to participate. it is entertaining though. The world is entertaining, if nothing else, right?
It's entertaining, and I have a very strong belief it's all going to work out okay. So I'm just enjoying the show now.
Exactly. Sit back and enjoy the show. And like I said, I really appreciate you coming and showing us this. The link will be in the description, guys. Check out that test drive. When's the date again?
August 15th.
August 15th. So I will see you next time, Steve.
Thanks if you want to do one before then, we can always do another one before then. Just to really, if it gets close, we can try and plug it if you want and get the YouTube going.
If there's anything that like individual stuff that you even wanted to come on and share briefly, we can do stuff like that too.
We can talk about trading tactics. I got all sorts of stuff we could talk about.
I could use that because I'm an irresponsible trader that's been pushing myself to be responsible for years. So
take a look at Apple before you go. See, this is all I see. Apple strong. Apple tested momentum. Apple passed momentum. Apple test momentum. Apple passed. Test, passed. Anytime this 10 SMA is tested on the 15-minute chart, this is where it's going to tell you, is the momentum going to die here or is it going to continue? As long as the candles don't close below that 10 SMA, they'll keep going. And a lot of times I use that to take profits. When I've got money and I'm itching to take a profit, I'll wait for that first break of that momentum line, and I feel like I got the best out of it that I could.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice solid move.
It's a great topic. It's a really simple topic. We can save that for another time.
Yeah, price it relative to these moving averages, especially when you find the value. This is what I say when I tell people when they're looking for the moving averages, when they're like, I hear all these people using this one. Which one works for me?
Well, 9 EMA and yeah.
What I say is just find the time frame that you want to trade on, and then go find the one that best fits the price for what you're looking at.
Yeah, they've asked me before, do you like 9 EMA and 10 SMA are pretty much the same thing to me. They're going to be so close. It's just whatever works for you. That's the obvious answer for all questions in trading. It's an art form. It's not a science. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, but this is a pretty cool product, and I get value out of it every day, and I know that you guys will too.
Cool. All right. Let me know if you need any help.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks again, Steve.
See you. Bye.
Yeah.
Order, Phil. Check us out.
You know what time it is.
This is the Mighty Soldiers exclusive.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like,
If you with the squad, then you already know what's up. It be going down, but my account is going up. I'm about to make another 100,000 bucks. Rolling up that chain, I'm about to take another puff.
Hold up, I made a killing, now my pockets got swollen. Independent, now I'm taking over. I'm a lot richer, you a lot broker. I'm a pot smoker, stockbroker, blowing up like a supernova. On my mama, I was born a soldier, the best in the game, man. I thought I told you. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, I am unstoppable, I can do anything I ever wanted to. Never did anything they ever wanted me to. Got on my side and I'm not gonna lose and they're not gonna win. I see them, the haters, it's all cause I'm getting dollars again. Commas on commas on commas, I'm buying the dip. The market is dropping again. I can see him hating from the sideline. If you see a hater, tell him bye-bye. Watch my money grow, 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 grow. And my wifey like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, somebody better stop me cause there ain't no competition and I'm coming for the top position, obliterating the opposition. Every time that I jot it in the composition, everybody wanna stop and listen cause I bring it to you hotter than the oven in your mama kitchen. I be getting hit like a politician. I'ma get bread when you stack looking taller than Scottie Pippen. Ain't nobody ready for the Armageddon when I pop the clip and I ain't playing. I'm spraying you brain, I'm bringing the pain like Damon Wayne. You disappear like David Blaine. I'm dropping bombs, Saddam Hussein. Stop and aim, pop you lames and pop champagne. I ain't playing so stop the games, you know the name. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Alright, man, I'm out.